you guys are like me, I'm sure you're running a little bit behind on 4th of July treats, but I am here to share with you one that is super simple and easy and absolutely adorable. You can whip up this summery dessert in no time with no baking whatsoever, so here's what you'll need. You're going to start out with 1/4 cup of creamy peanut butter. And then to that, all you're going to add is 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. Last but not least, all you're going to need is 1 tablespoon of butter, and then it's time to mix. Now, don't worry, you're going to feel like this is never going to mix up, but I promise you it will. Just make sure you're pressing it against the sides of the bowls with your wooden spoon, and that'll make sure everything gets incorporated. And then to finish off the dough, once everything is mixed together, you're just going to add 1/2 cup of graham cracker crumbs and mix this in as well. Now you're going to have to work with stirring this as well, but keep pushing it against the bottom, and then when it's all done, it should look like this. Now it's time to form the little bodies of your bees. All you're going to do is take a little bit in the palm of your hand, and you're going to squeeze it back and forth to create a little 1-inch log. This does take some patience because the dough is very crumbly, so take your time with it and just make sure you don't push too hard or it will break apart. Now at this stage, here is what your little bee should look like so far, and now time for some details after I knock all of these out. And now for the stripes, I'm just going to take about 1/4 cup of melted chocolate chips. Here I'm using semi-sweet, but you can also use milk chocolate. And I'm just making a homemade pastry bag with a plastic bag on a cup, and that really helps hold it open while I'm putting the chocolate in. And then I'm just going to snip off the end as small as I can. Now this step is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to be adding 3 stripes on the end of our little beads, and then 2 little dots for the eyes. The stripes you're seeing here are a little bit too thick for my taste, and I just happened to cut the hole in my bag a little bit bigger this time around, but if you want them to look a little more detailed and clean, I would highly suggest cutting it as small as you can. And here's a little close-up so you can see exactly what I'm doing. These are very intricate and detailed, but I promise you guys it's going to pay off in the end. Now for the finishing touches, we only have a couple things left. You're just going to need a handful of mini chocolate chips and almond slices. Adding their little wings might be the hardest part because the almonds tend to break sometimes, but just make sure you have a lot of patience and insert the pointier side of the almond into the bee and wiggle it back and forth. Don't be worried if you do lose a couple bees during this process because inserting the almonds makes them crumble sometimes, so don't worry if you lose a couple, just be prepared for that. And as for the last step, this is definitely optional. I just like going back to the little dots of chocolate and adding a couple of mini chocolate chips for the eyes. And once you are done with that, guys, your bees are completely finished. Aren't these the cutest things you've ever seen? Serve these tasty little treats right after making them, or what I love to do is to actually put them in the freezer for about an hour. Freezing them is going to set the chocolate and also make the bees a little more sturdy, so if you're transporting them, I would highly recommend that so they don't melt in the hot summer sun. I really hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Like I keep saying, it's one of my all-time go-to favorites, and every time I make these, I get so many compliments. They're adorable, but yet they taste so yummy. So I hope you guys have an amazing 4th of July, and I'll talk to you in my next video.